Yo, we are back. We're back. Yay, more listening to. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of a crazy place to pause, but you know, for just a moment in time, I was number one. Hey, ready? You're always gonna be number one in my heart. Alright, so let's continue, okay? Let us continue. This person obviously is women. Yo, what's up, Gail? What's up, my boy? What's up?
Discord forcing age verification and then not having to disclose their third-party partners because, well, who cares about transparency anymore? There's a reason that stupid takes like this get wrecked on social media and why people don't take individuals like this seriously. And yes, we know that Marathon did peak at 143,621 for its Server Slam weekend, and there's been people arguing that, oh, well, who would want to play a game where your progress doesn't carry over for the full release? First of all, if you hit certain points and achievements throughout this Server Slam, you do get rewards when the full game launches. But regardless, if people are not willing to test your game out when it is free, why do you expect people to play your game when it is a paid entry? And yeah, I'm not sitting here and
Oh, god damn it. Damn it. Okay. Okay, basically what I was just saying was, am I silly? But, like, this doesn't actually look like bad numbers, no? Like, yes, did it get cut in more than a half? Yeah, but, like, for a Server Slam that doesn't even have, like, the end game raid mechanics, new player, 2 new maps, ranked mode, like, 50 people, 50K people playing? That doesn't actually seem bad, no? That might, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. And it was a peak at 76K. But, like, I know games that start from here, and they just, like, go here, then they come here, and then they go, like, down like this. This seems that, like, people tried it, immediately hated it, but then people start playing it, and then it came down, and then people stopped, like, maybe where, you know, like, they, like, turned off the game, maybe they were doing something, and then it came back up, and then it kind of seems like it's, like, it's kind of okay. Like, this doesn't seem like the kind of chart that looks like the game is dead on arrival, that the game is trash. Because I'm not gonna lie, if the game was trash, I don't, you might have, like, 10K people playing. But obviously, there are people who are liking it. There are people who are liking it. Am I in the wrong? Am I silly for thinking that? Yes or no? Yes or no? This graph on a Server Slam doesn't actually look that bad. A peak of 76,000 and players right now 50K. I don't know. Does it look bad? I would like it if you guys could, you know. She's personifying innocent players worried about criticism, so she sounds right. Because she wants transparency to use it as a base for criticism. Yeah. Better than Concord? Way better than Concord. And again, this is the Server Slam that doesn't have endgame. It doesn't have one of the characters. Doesn't have 2 of the maps. Doesn't have the end game. Doesn't have the rank or the raid mechanics. in endgame. None of that is in the base game. None of that is in the Server Slam. You can't even upgrade your factions all the way to make yourself super duper powerful. I don't even know if there's like a bunch of legendaries that you can even get in the Server Slam. Like overall, it's like 70 to 80% of the game, sure, of like the average game that you'll play is like what the Server Slam is, but like the end game, what you really want, right? That's it. That's like if I only fought like monsters in the ancient forest. So I fought Tobi-Kadachi, Puki-Puki, Kuluyaku, Jaggeris, Rathalos, Anjanath. I only fought those guys, and I didn't fight Elder's Recess. I didn't fight Nergigante. I didn't fight any of them. And I'm like, yeah, I played the game. It's like, no, you gotta play the rest of the game, bro. I'm telling they need to use self-improvement. It's always the same. It's always the same. Self-improvement, gotta use it. I wonder if a demon drug would be better. Okay, well, I feel like I'm not crazy in thinking that this actually doesn't look bad. For a Server Slam, and like, we got like one more day. We got one more day with a Server Slam. Even if the Server Slam goes to an all-time low of maybe like 40k, which it kind of looks like it did like right here for a second, I don't even think that's bad. For a Server Slam that apparently is the worst game ever that everyone hates, 40k doesn't seem that bad for a Server Slam. And a peak of 76k. I don't know, man. I don't know. You're showing me the graph, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at the graph, and I'm like, this doesn't actually look bad. Yes, is it kind of bad that people jumped off here? Yes, but keep in mind, people like this individual, and that chicken guy, that rooster guy, the guy that we watched before her, are the kind of people who are review bombing and saying bad about the game. And it's like, I personally don't really take these people's criticism, and criticism, quotation, I'm being very loosey-goosey with saying the word criticism, into account. It's not that it's bad or good. It's like, if you want to play a game, you shouldn't care about numbers. Yeah, fair. Right? Because people like her say that the chart is end-all be-all. And even then, even with this chart isn't showing... This chart is not showing, like, a complete decrease, right? It's not showing a complete decrease in player count. It's showing that it's going down, and then it's going up, and then it's going down, and then it's going up. Like, that's normal for games. And it's good for a Server Slam. All this is a thing for content creators to ramble. Yeah, like me, I'm rambling.
Saying that this game is going to completely flop. Bungie has a lot of fans. Clearly, 143,000 people is just the all-time peak. There's probably like 2 million people that ended up downloading it. But at the same time, when you are seeing a drastic drop like this in only 24 hours from 143 to 46, and the lowest point was 33,638, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't look very well.
Why are you only look at the low points? Bro, look at the whole graph. Look at the whole graph. It's like, yes, does this look bad? And then it came up, and then it went down, and then it went up again, and then it went down. Like, that's normal for games. That's normal for games that have high and low ends. Like, yeah, having 33,000... At the lowest, 33,000 people playing the Server Slam isn't even bad. If it was as bad as people said it was, 33,000 would almost seem inconceivable. That would almost be like the peak. I don't need other people to like a game for me to have fun with it. Yeah. People do pay for games, and if I squint my eyes, I can see why you wouldn't play a game with lower player count. Yes. Here's the thing about people like this. On surface level, very surface level, or even just like 20% of what they're saying is true. There is truth to what they are saying. However, it's muddied by everything else in the way that they're saying it and the things that they're adding to their points. That makes me want to disagree. But yes, like I've said before, player count and seeing the charts is important. It's a good metric of analyzing player attention for a game. It is. However, she's only looking at the bottom numbers. She's not looking at the whole graph. She's not looking at, like, people's actual positive, like, reviews on it. She's not looking... I'm sorry, she's only looking at the graph, and if the graph is saying this, I'm sorry, if the graph's saying this, but she's only looking at this. So, it's so skewed. Those are download times due to time zones. Wait, these are download times? I thought these were... It says players right now. What do you mean? These are downloaded? These are people who downloaded the game? Wake up. Yo, Atomic, wake up.
And right now, in the middle of an afternoon on a Sunday, it's at 51,000. Maybe it'll go up a little bit more, but yesterday's peak was 76,000. So it's not a good look. And yes, I get that there are people out there who want to defend Bungie and defend these.
It's not a good... Is 76,000 like players like bad? Is it like horrible? Is it horrible? I know I keep on harping on this, but like the way that they are saying it, you would think that it was like peak like 20k. Is like average 50k and peak 70 like 70 75 76k, like, is that bad? I feel like that's like average, no? But with the way that people are talking about Marathon, you would think it would literally be the worst game ever. I mean, it's the time of day when people are busy. Yeah. Again, she's like, it's not looking good. I'm like, bro, have you seen a game not do good on Steam charts? It goes from 143 to then next day 76 to then next day like 20k, and then it'll have a steady incline of maybe like a few thousand people watching. Right? So I don't know.
Activist developers, and they just want to run damage control for these companies. But you have to understand why transparency is important. It is because companies can just lie. They can say, our game is doing great, our game is doing phenomenal, our game is absolutely crushing the competition right now, and they don't have to prove it. It is a reason why there are so many developers now who will boast about 3 million players or 4 million players or 5 million players, not 5 million sales or 5 million copies sold. And this is why transparency is important. If you don't understand...
Guys, I want like a genuine... I want like a genuine like answer from you guys. So... If Marathon, let's say, starts, like, the game launches, and it's like this, right? And then it keeps at a steady place at 100,000 players. Do you think she's gonna cover that? Yes or no? Like, if Marathon actually does decent, like, this, like, 76k is, like, the low end, and then this would be, like, the average, which is, like, good for a game. It's healthy for a game. Right? Any game. Do you think they would cover it? Yes or no? Like, someone like her, do you think she would cover if the game was actually having success? Or do you think people would, like, say that, like, people are shilling for it, people are coping and everything, even though if the Steam charts show that it is doing good, do you think they'll still cover it? Yes or no? For views, no. No. I think they'll cover it. But I think they'll be like how the other guy was. How the other guy was, like, talking about politics, about, like, trans, fem, men, whatever. He was rambling about so much nonsense, I couldn't even remember it all. That he was talking, like, a whole lot of malarkey, yet he still got views. So I feel like even if the game has, like, is, like, pretty decent, the game is pretty good, is good, in my opinion, but, like, if the game number-wise is doing decent, I feel like people are still going to hate on it. Even if by their own metrics, it looks good. It's like, I feel like the game just can't win. They act like it was always the best thing ever. What are you talking about? Well, no, those are the people who were, like, on the fence. Or like, yeah, I think the game could have been good. I'm just like, it wasn't good at the time. Like, nah, shut up.
That you are a lost cause, and I can't say I'm particularly shocked given this person is a TGV affiliate. It says that they're she, her, they've got all these flags in their bio, but they also talk about Marathon hype, so this is clearly a Bungie shill. And then this person...
Damn! why? Like, listen, I don't even care about like transgender like that. Like, I don't really care about genders or sexuality or things like that. But like, damn, bro, am I missing something? That's not how this works, bro. Yeah, little bro, this ain't how that works. It's like marathon hype, so obviously it's a shill. Bro, what does that all this have to do with marathon? That's a good question. No idea. No idea, but apparently she got them Gojo eyes. She got the six eyes. She got the Sharingan. She could see through this motherfucker's disguise. Obviously, this person what is it called? Lumina? They're a shill, obviously. She could see right through it. She could see right through your disguise. Why with the pronouns though? I don't know. I don't know why pronouns matter, right? Like dissect the argument, not the person, right? Because Hitler themselves could say the sun is a star. Listen, no one likes Hitler, but is Hitler wrong technically if he said that? No. But if Hitler were to say the sun is not a star, then you can criticize what Hitler said, no matter if it was Hitler or not, right? Criticize and dissect what the argument is and what they're saying. Don't go after someone's character. Spot change topics now? Okay.
They also talk about marathon hype, so this is clearly a Bungie shill. And then this person says that they yap about games and they've got 25K on TikTok, so they are just looking for attention and, a post to go viral. But there's a reason why people like this are getting absolutely wrecked. Nah, player counts are important metric to gauge a game, especially in the multi/competitive games.
Yes, like that is true, right? That's true. It's like it is important. It's important as a metric for gaming. However, what this person is saying, oh wait, hold on. Player count, this is actually something different. Player count, which can change drastically with any update at any point for any given game. Not saying it's useless, but it sure isn't a reliable measure. Now, here's where I would have to give pushback. Listen, I'm gonna have to give pushback. Well, it depends on what you're measuring. Are you measuring the success of the game like it'll ever be, or are you measuring the success of the game currently? It's reliable for the measurement of the success of the game currently, but not how the game will be, right? It's just not like that. So I think they just need a word there. I think I understand what they're trying to get at, but I think they just need to word it better. No, don't look at how bad these games are doing. No. God, it's so annoying.
No. Don't look at how bad these games are doing. No. So,
hey, that's what I said.
The comment section isn't going the way you planned. You're actually just mad the games for you can't fake success. Do the meme, leave the alone, the multi-million-dollar company.
And see, I know Twitter is a cesspool. Like, I understand that, but like this is what's upsetting about it. About like the gaming sphere in general, because this isn't again, Marathon is the newest example and the biggest example right now. But this is legitimately how it's going to be. Right? This is legitimately how gaming, like the gaming sphere is going to, it is like this right now, and it's annoying. The Spottable situation is crazy.
Leave the alone, the multi-million-dollar company. No, journalists can no longer lie and say that a game is a super blockbuster mega smash hit. LOL.
Wait, what did you say? No, journalists can no longer lie and say that a game is super blockbuster mega. Wait, what? Journalists can no longer lie and say that a game is super blockbuster mega smash. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. Games that are considered successful that either had a rough start or never hit astronomical numbers. I mean, kinda, yeah. This one looks like it would up. What is that? I can't tell what that is. But it is true. Just because a game has a rocky start doesn't mean that it's going to have, a rocky, like even like a month later. You know what I'm saying? Gnarly, do you do you want a pillow or a blanket? I got some extra ones. But these are bad. See, these are the kind of player counts where I'm like, okay, this isn't like super good, right? These are the player counts where I'm like, okay, it's not super good, right? Like 25k, that's like a niche audience. 6k, 5k, all this, right? I can see that, right? But Marathon at like the lowest end is 33k. Not even the Marathon game. The server slam is 33k. It's 33. And then now it's 50k. And on like tops on like a little bit more on the higher end, it's 75k. Like it's like look at the like these numbers. I can understand. If Marathon had these numbers, hey my boy, couldn't lie to you. But I'm looking at the chart you're looking at, and I'm like, I don't see anything like particularly like super bad. Top right is Stardew Valley, I think. Really? Stardew Valley was like really bad? And then it got more popular? Really? I don't remember that. And same with Monster Hunter World? Yes. Again, I know what you are.
Games that are considered successful that either had a rough start or never hit astronomical numbers. You have titles like Factorio, you have titles like Stardew Valley, Subnautica, Hades. But again, there is a big fucking difference between a game that had a $1 million budget or even a $500,000 budget versus a game coming from a studio like Bungie that was purchased for $3 billion, owned now by one of the largest companies in the video game industry.
Here's the thing. I can see the point. However, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about numbers. Pure numbers. The moment someone brought up the number, it's like, no, but you have to think about it more. It's like, no. Okay. If you want to say that that 100,000 players concurrent isn't good for how much Sony spent on Bungie, that's fair to say. You can have a legitimate criticism, or not even criticism, you can have an actual talking point there. But if you were to say that 100,000 isn't a lot or it's not good, you're just saying that the numbers aren't good. Now you're bringing up, well, okay, but in the background, it's actually not good because of this reason. You're not saying that. You haven't been saying that. Again, if your point was, hey, 50k isn't actually that bad by some games by some game metrics. However, when it's as big of a studio as Bungie and Sony bought Bungie for 3 point something billion dollars, 50k like player count just isn't going to cut it for like how much they invested. See that? You see what I just said? Did you see what I just said there? That's an actual discussion. Instead, what has she been doing? Just saying, the numbers aren't looking good. The numbers. Someone goes, but the numbers aren't everything. Sometimes they have a small thing and then they get bigger. But no, but the numbers, but then it's not good because of the. Just lead with that, bro. Just lead with that. Because you're just whining and moaning, and then when someone actually brings up the talking points that you are bringing up, then you want to. Okay. I'm getting a little bit heated. I'm turning into Furious for Jang. I'm starting to get there. She said Subnautica, got her right. What is she talking about? She's talking about numbers, but she's so God, don't know. Hold on now. I'm low-key confused because I can I would assume like in a long way in, so I'm trying to figure out what it is as I go. Oh, Koala, we're talking about the marathon drama. So this person is talking about the marathon like numbers and stuff. And I'm not sure if you were here, Koala, when we looked at the other guy, but like these people are just, quite frankly, I just don't really care about their opinions. But they get so much positive reinforcement for all this hate that isn't even talking about the game. They're just saying that it's slop, game bad number, and all these things, but they're not actually talking about the fucking game. And they're just doing it for views.
Something like Marathon had tens of millions of dollars put into it, and after all of the rehauls, I bet that they spent over $100 million on it, versus a game like, I don't know, Factorio, hitting 118,000 all-time peak when it was made by a tiny team of people who probably didn't even get paid during the development cycle. So there's a very, very different argument to be made there about.
And I'm criticizing her because she doesn't lead with that. That's not her talking point. That's not her talking point. And then when it becomes convenient, now it is her talking point. This is okay.
About the cost of a game.
I think you would be in the right to criticize this person. A troon with a troon with terrible opinion. How fucking surprising. Is that like goon? Is that like trans gooner? What in the fuck is a troon? Oh my god, am I getting unk status? I'm literally in my early 20s. I'm already unk status.
Versus how much it actually brings in. Like, if you've got a team of 2 people who made a game and, I don't know, paid themselves, I don't know, $15K for the development cycle versus a Bungie who is worth.
All right, I think we got the gist of it. We can get rid of the 1 minute. We can get rid of the 1 minute. I'll leave a like or something. I don't know. Is it like, I don't know. Sometimes it turns on and off. I don't know. But here,
all right, so
we saw 2 examples of people kind of making low-key bringing politics. I'm sorry, one guy was high-key bringing politics. He just kind of stated it. But they're not actually talking about why a game's bad. They're not talking about the numbers. They're not doing all these things, right? They're not actually engaging in criticism. They're just going game bad. Please give me likes and give me views. Game bad, right? But game bad. But have you ever thought about game bad? They don't actually give criticism to make any games better. They don't. At least these people don't. And these are the people who are literally saying to review bomb Marathon to say don't play it, who are saying, yeah, I didn't play it, or saying I quit after the game, or saying I only played it for 2 hours and I can really tell that the game's shit. Those are the people that we just watched, right? Now, hold on. Now, we're going to be bringing it up, right? Like that chart. It went down. We were up, then we went down. Then we're going to go back up again. I thought a bungee was used for bungee jumping. You're funny. You're funny, Gnarly. It is used for... bungee cords are made for bungee jumping. You're correct, Gnarly. Now we have people pushing back on the people like that 80K viewer guy who was kind of spurging out, and this girl, who I already forgot. I just remember that her name sounded vaguely similar to Valhazak. Now we have a video that is, I've watched this, and I think it's good. It's Marathon is good, y'all just being weird. So, it's actually a pushback on the unjustifiable hate. If you want to hate on Marathon, hate it for actual reasons. Don't just say game bad, game bad, game bad, and then leave. Shut the hell up. What do they have to do? What do they have to bring politics? They didn't even play the game. It was just stupid. Imagine if Steam made you play at least 10 hours to leave a review. That would be kind of cool. If that was how Steam, like, worked. But I don't think that is. I think you can literally just leave a review. I don't even know if you have to buy the game to leave the review. I would hope you would at least have to buy the game. But, anyways. Actually, I don't even think that is the case. But whatever. So now we're going to have someone actually pushing back against the unjustified hate. Listen, criticize and hating on Marathon, you can do that. Sure. Unjustifiably and kind of just sparking out, and you're the people who are like pushing a certain narrative, no. And people like this guy and a few others are actually pushing up against it. So we're gonna watch it. If I don't play the game, I watch people play it and it brings interest into me. If it's not like an issue at the end of my day, but that's just me, honestly. Yeah, let's watch this, guys. Let's watch this. Let's get a little bit more positivity.
I originally wasn't going to do this, that being make a video on Marathon before released. However, I have a lot of thoughts. As a shooter fan, as a Destiny fan, so many thoughts that I'm going to have to fight myself really hard to keep this concise and not ramble on for some obscene amount of time, which looking at this script I wrote, I ended up doing that anyway, but whatever. Fair warning, this video will likely be...
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my man. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Guys, what do we think about the girl with the charts and the guy who was talking about sissy, transgender, their default and everything? What do we think about those two guys? I'm sorry, those two people. What do we think about them? Do we think they were kind of spitting? They were low-key spitting, huh? I think they kind of were. Or do we think that they are actually a problem? Not a problem that we have to, like, deal with or something, but, like, they're an issue with, like, a gaming sphere. The gaming sphere. I think they're a problem. I think they're a problem. But the thing is, it's not a problem that you can just get rid of. They're always going to be there. But I just think that they are a problem. I don't know, I was kind of sleepy with it. Gnarly, I know you were actually listening. Shut up. Bonfire? Yeah. Some of those reviews are so they gave me diarrhea. Game bad. New Monster Hunter players after Electron came out. No clue, not a politician. But that's the thing. We're talking about a video game. There's no reason to get bring politics into it. But they do bring politics into it. And they're like, yeah, you're transgender. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. And again, I don't even care about, like, that whole talking point. But, like, damn, I'm not going to look at someone's gender and just immediately, like, be like, your opinion completely invalid because of that. I just think that's really stupid.
spicier than the content I usually make. Since YouTube isn't my job and I script out my videos and try to not poop content out in 10 seconds, I was going to wait until the game came out, play through the content, then make a more thorough, structured, professional video at that time. But this is just too fascinating for me to not talk about, so here I am. Let's get this out of the way first and foremost. My thoughts...
A video about this would not do great? Yeah, because this just isn't, like, my content. This isn't what I do. So, like, I know it wouldn't, but this is why... And we don't even have, like, a ton of people in right now. Even though you would think maybe on Sunday, where no one's on school or anything, that, like, I would, you know, have people here. But, again, it's a marathon, the game's not liked, and, you know, like, it's fine. I understand. But, yeah. Thank you, Viper, for saying it's a good stream. Feels like the Thanksgiving dinner when it gets political. I know what you're talking about, Dominic. Yeah, I get that.
After the initial marathon reveal 9 or 10 months ago, were pretty...
First stream here, by the way. Your videos are peak. Thank you, FT. Thank you. I'm trying to do more. I'm really trying. It's just that one thing after another. However, I think this week shouldn't have too many interruptions. I hope. I might have just jinxed myself, but I hope. I hope.
Negative. I loved the game's music and visual style and had no doubt the gunplay would be good given it's a Bungie shooter. But I was concerned after seeing gameplay. I made a video in November addressing my concerns, of which I placed into 4 categories. I said Marathon looked like it was following trends instead of setting them. I criticized the heat system and wanted Marathon's gameplay to be faster paced and lean more into the fantasy of being this synthetic runner. I wanted them to go away from the hero shooter archetypes and allow us to design our own characters for cosmetic, story, and gameplay reasons. And I wanted them to make the graphics look more like the cinematic trailers they made, as I felt that fit the universe better and just overall look better than the flat and plastic design that they had gone for that. After watching the recent Bungie Vidocs and actually playing Marathon, I can say they have nearly addressed all of these concerns. Not in their totality, but partially. For example, the graphics have retained their stylized appearance, but it's undeniable they look more detailed in a good way. The heroes haven't been totally replaced with custom characters, but there is more gameplay variety via the way of cores and implants. Obviously, Marathon is not out yet, so things are bound to change. However, this server slam is not a traditional beta test. Bungie can and certainly will take feedback in and update the game over time, but said game comes out in less than a week. So this is basically a free trial to the full game, of which will cost $40.
I'm gonna freak out. Let me repeat what I just said. I'm gonna disagree with him here. I don't think it's like 90% of the game. I don't think this is most of your game, right? I will say this is probably like your average game, right? Like your average game experience in Marathon. However, we literally don't have a runner. We don't have 2 of the other maps, which are going to be heavy PvP focused. We're not going to have rank. We're not going to have raid mechanics. We're not going to have a boss. Like, we're not going to have a lot of things. So to say that this is basically Marathon, I just wouldn't say that. If you want to say it's like 70%, 80%, I think that's probably fair, right? We can't even also level up all of our factions. So, yeah. I would more personally give it like a 75% there. It's like, we got like an extra quarter of the game, right? But that's more for end game stuff. That's like later on. This is probably your experience for like your first like 20 hours, most likely. This is most likely you're going to be experienced for like your first 20 hours. After that, though, I think it's going to get crazy after that.
Let me be clear about my perspective and experience. So far, I've played Marathon for about 5 hours. All of those hours were spent with me being in basically a full team with people I know, so I have no experience of what it's like playing solo or with randoms, both of which I imagine are not as good as playing with people you know. I am not a huge fan of extraction shooters, though I am open to them. I've played like 20 hours of Arc Raiders and think it's a fun game. However, these usually aren't games I want to spend tons and tons of hours in, and I'll elaborate on why that is later in the video. With that being said, I like Marathon quite a bit more than I was expecting to. So much so that I was surprised to go online afterwards and see so much criticism, some of which was fair, but being honest, a lot of it was interesting. Now, I have no stake in Marathon's success. I have zero relationship with Bungie. If the game sucked, I would tell you. If you followed my channel for any period of time, you know I have no issue keeping it real. But some of the criticisms I've seen of Marathon are simply unfair, and in other cases, are just objectively stupid. And I'm not even referring to the trolls who call it Concord 3 because they take pleasure in seeing game developers lose their jobs. I'm talking about criticisms that say less about the game they're about and more about the person that's expressing them. First things first, Marathon has the vibes. The dude with the crazy glasses who made the music, outstanding job. All of the factions, incredibly cool. The aesthetic of the entire universe is great. Dare I say I like it more than Destiny. I feel like I'm gonna get stuck with a pitchfork for saying that, but it's very good. I will say, some of the assets still look kind of bad to me though. Like there's a few rocks here and there I feel like I look at and it seems like they're missing detail. I still kind of wish they went fully into the realism of the cinematics and removed some of this bloom effect the game has, but overall, the graphics are improved. The game looks much better playing it than watching compressed video footage online. People have been up in arms about the UI, which I will address rather passionately. But firstly, just from the standpoint of its visual style, I really like it. Lo-fi, sci-fi, analog crunch, cassette futurism, whatever you want to call the high-tech, low-fidelity vibe, it really appeals to me personally. I love how the items rotate slightly when you hover over them. I love the skull hit marker icon appearing when you get a kill. This is all totally personal preference. You may feel differently, but I like it. Marathon also has a lot of very small, but very good, smart features that added up for me, so I felt they were worth mentioning. Having the items that are purely meant for earning credits auto-sell themselves when you extract is great. Being able to just click on you or your friends' names in the main menu to mute them or yourself is great. Hitting C in your inventory to toggle between what an item type is and what its value is great. Having an option in the radial menu to have it smart select whatever consumable the game thinks you need at that time is great. Seeing everyone's quests before you load in and at the top right of your screen is great. Triage's healing drone turning from a smiley face to a frowny face as it depletes, and even it crouching when you do, is great. The longer you play, the more of these thoughtful additions you find. To no surprise, the gunplay is also very good. I would describe Marathon as a heavier, slower version of Destiny 2. It requires you to be a bit more conscious of your positioning, managing your stamina, choosing when to use your more advanced mobility options. There is still a part of me that wishes they went crazy with the movement, but I understand why it is the way it is. The UESC serves as decent cannon fodder. I do think they are a little blocky looking and it can be difficult to differentiate them. I would be very interested to see them take a Destiny approach where certain enemies have specific weaknesses you can exploit. Right now, it feels like you die to them because you get overwhelmed or trapped in a room with them, or you run into the one that turns himself invisible and tanks so much damage to the point where you run out of ammo. They would probably benefit from some tweaking, but are serviceable. I hope to see more, otherwise, I might feel a little disappointed. Let's talk about the PvP aspect now. It's been my assumption based on what I've heard and now based on what I've played that Marathon is leaning more into PvP encounters than other games in this genre. In my experience, there wasn't much use of proximity chat.
If you read this, say something. Yeah, I read it. I'm sorry if I haven't been talking. It's just that starting to get a little bit later, and I don't want to like rant on like kind of how I have been, right? What is this contrast in reviews? That's what I want to say. So I gave you a review that was kind of more positive, but a little critical, but also kind of on the fence with Cross, the first guy we watched. Excuse me. And then we got into the like spurging out hatred with that one guy and then the redheaded girl. Now we're getting to reviews about someone talking about the overly hatred about Marathon and also giving his general opinion.
Despite people being outraged,
like we need to look at multiple reviews. We can't just look at like one kind of review where it's like, oh, the game's really good or the game's really bad. Because I feel like if I was just constantly just showing you that people are saying the game bad, then that's I might convey that that's all people are saying, but it's not all that people are saying, right? People are genuinely liking it in the review, and they're actually they're like, hey, I like it. Like the art style, like the gameplay. I do have some gripes here and there, right? And these are the good people who are actually giving criticism, who are actually saying things, right? Instead of just saying game bad, game bad, game bad.
It didn't have it before, which I found kind of funny. The time to kill was much faster than I anticipated, and dying didn't really seem like that big of a deal. In a game like Arc Raiders, PvP isn't really all that amazing. Most of the time, my friends and I hop in, kill Arc, do quests, then leave. If someone shoots at us, we engage, but generally speaking, if they don't mess with us, we don't mess with them. Obviously, that's not how everyone plays, and I'm not criticizing Arc Raiders for being that way. The uncertainty definitely leads to real tension. But the main thing I'm trying to say is, in Marathon, every time I saw someone, I wanted to get into a fight, despite me not being that kind of player in these kinds of games, and it felt like every other team behaved in this same way. Maybe that'll change during the full release, but as of now, that's what it is. And honestly, I kind of like it that way. It makes Marathon feel like an extraction arena shooter hybrid, differentiating itself from others in the genre. Between the gameplay Bungie's known for, the first-person perspective, and map design where sightlines are pretty tight rather than these giant sprawling maps, the game feels less like other extraction games and more like a high-stakes arena. When you add in the Arachne faction specifically rewarding you for kills and runner shells built for combat, it makes sense why you want to shoot everything on sight.
You see, this is what I want when it comes to actually like giving your takes and going a little bit more detail into it. This is what I want. Now, I would actually want this, if you have criticism for the game, I also want this level of detail and criticism for the game, right? And even if you hate the game, give me just more. Just give me like your actual articulated feelings and thoughts about why you hate the game. Instead of just saying game look bad, game bad, game bad. Like just give me, I just want some substance, man. I just want some substance. Come on, man. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a big fresh, like a big breath, big fresh air.
Last thing I want to touch on before I get into my rant, if you will.
Rant?
I don't want this to be a shot at Arc Raiders. Like I said, I like Arc Raiders, and I think it's a very well-made game. I'm just saying that for me, Once I played on all the maps, I didn't really see a reason to continue. With
Yes. Yes. That is what I've been saying. That's why I played for maybe like I think I played for like a solid 50 to maybe like 80 hours, right? But then after that, I was like, I can't play this anymore. Right? Not even because it's bad, but because like I did everything. Like I'm just kind of playing just to kind of play now. And quite frankly, that's like there's no incentive for anything. It's like you can fight the matriarch, you can fight all the big bad arcs within the first 10 hours of the game. Like you legitimately can. And after that, sure, you use different weapons and you know, get some more items and you do some more quests, but literally like Arc Raiders doesn't have like a whole good like end. It's like, what are you doing all this for? It's like, well, to kill someone approximately 0.4 seconds sooner, or drop the arc 1 second sooner than you normally would. It's like, I don't want to fucking do that. The game, like my level 4 common Stitcher is almost just as good as a fucking like purple gun. The legendary guns don't feel legendary. They're very rare. So I can't even like really play with them all too much. And then you have rats who just come completely like stab you in the back and stuff. So it's just like I'm glad he said that. I felt like I was crazy. I felt like people were just kind of disagreeing with me on that. Good gameplay plus progression, hyper realistic graphics that burn PC graphics cards equals yes. So you're enjoying Marathon? I am enjoying Marathon, and I'm gonna get it. And I think you guys should try it for yourselves. It's literally free right now and tomorrow. Although tomorrow, the server slam will close, and then after that, it will release on March 5th, which you will have to pay $40 for. So if you want, like, more than half, if you want, like, the majority, kind of how it's going to feel it a little bit, without endgame, like how your early to, like, mid-games are going to feel like, the server slam is a good representation, I think. But again, you don't have a runner, you don't have 2 maps, you don't have endgame, you don't have ranked, you can't unlock everything in your factions into the server slam. So there is a good there's a good chunk of things you're missing in the server slam, but that's more endgame. Beginning, like the beginning of the game and a little bit of mid game, that's pretty much the server slam. So I think you guys should give it a shot if you haven't already. Come.
Marathon, there is potential that will not be the case, despite this also being an extraction shooter. Per my bias, I'm more into first-person shooters than third-person, and I am more into the sci-fi vibe Marathon has. But perhaps more importantly, the elements of Marathon that are similar to Destiny really appeal to me. When I think about why I played so much Destiny in my life, other than hating myself and having terrible taste, I think of these things: the vast array of weapons, the sheer amount of build diversity, and the presence of long-term goals. As of right now, I am into the weapons in Marathon. I want to experiment with them all, get different attachments, all that. I was also intrigued to see the presence of synergy you can get with all these different cores and implants. Seeing something as simple as sliding, reloading your weapon, put a tear to my Destiny-loving eye. Some people find these if-then design elements confusing and overwhelming, but I find them really fun and that they lead to a ton of replay value. Combining several of them into mini gameplay loops and pulling them off is a deeply satisfying experience, and is something I don't see in other extraction games. And what's kind of intriguing to me is, if you find a build you really like in Destiny, you can essentially stick with it forever. And Bungie has had to counteract this by just keep making things more and more and more powerful. But in Marathon, if you die, you lose those things, forcing you to experiment with different combinations. In Destiny, long-term goals like hitting max level, getting all the exotics, and beating a raid kept me playing for a long time. If Marathon has something like this in it, it will likely get me to invest a good amount of hours into the game. Now let's get into the juicy, spicy part of the video.
Yes, juicy, spicy. I've been liking how this. I've been liking it so far, right? I've been liking it. Now the next video that we're gonna watch is by a significantly smaller content creator. I think he has maybe 1K by now, but he goes way more into the people who were like spurging out and we just kind of just speaking nonsense. he actually addresses those people more than the actual game. So we're going to get more into the drama after this video.
Marathon has been lumped into the Concord meme, which I hate even addressing, but here we are. You don't have to like Marathon. It's a video game. It's not that deep. But people who say Marathon is complete garbage in all caps, Marathon is disgusting, Marathon is slop, Bungie should be ashamed. Like, what a sad life to live. Having a game come out and having it not be for you is totally fine. But getting a hard-on for the failure of other people is not only pathetic, it's completely unproductive. If you think a product is bad, give actual feedback to those making it. Suggest a better alternative. I know not everyone is like this, and I am not one of those people that thinks Highguard failed because gamers are toxic. But it's just wild to me how many rage baiters there are online who genuinely foam at the mouth seeing a new game come out so they can make fun of it. Another sentiment I've seen with Marathon is wishing it wasn't an extraction shooter, which admittedly is more fair. It seems like there are a decent amount of people who like the aesthetic and world of Marathon, just wish it was something else. I don't have a whole lot to say on this one. It's a personal preference barrier. The game...
Chevy trucks bring big-time power, so you have choices for every job.
The buildings need to change. Just reminds me of unfinished assets. Well, that's just the art style. That's just the direction, right? If I had to recommend a video for you to watch, I would have to find the video again, but there's a guy who talks a lot about the art and like how it looks weird but kind of in a good way, and he goes into it. So I would recommend that to you. In fact, I might be able to find it, maybe not, but I don't mind it. I like the uncanny valley feeling of like the world being kind of like grittier, like fog, rain, and then you have like the dystopic like neon of like humanity on the world. I like it. But again, it's not for everyone. Whoops.
And that's okay. Maybe that's an issue with Sony, but it doesn't inherently make Marathon a bad game. I think the annoying part for me is this idea that Bungie made this instead of Destiny 3. While yes, it is objectively true Marathon's existence has impacted Destiny 2 because they took developers off of Destiny 2 to work on Marathon, you cannot simply say if Marathon didn't exist that Destiny 3 would, as if they're interchangeable and Bungie was sitting there like, which game should we make, and picked Marathon over Destiny 3. There are sections of the Destiny community that look at Marathon like the older brother looks at the younger brother in the prodigal son parable. Marathon is simply one reason out of like 20 why Destiny is the way it is. Marathon is not to blame for the content vault. Marathon is not to blame for the non-existence of good onboarding in Destiny 2. I would love to see Destiny 3 as much as the next guy.
Should have gone for more Tron for the buildings. I mean, inside the buildings, it's way more like neon lights. But outside, it's more highlighter color. I mean, there are lights, but, you know, it's not perfect. It's not one-to-one. I think it does good. Like, the insides are fucking bright as hell. That's like Tron neon. The outside, I mean, it kind of wouldn't make sense for the outside to be completely Tron, to be like every single building being highlighted in fucking bright color, like lights being like on the edges. But I can get what you're, I can understand what you're saying. Have we done the drip check yet? No, we're gonna watch like 2 more videos, and then we're gonna watch 2 more videos, and then we're gonna do the drip check. And then after that, we're gonna end stream.
But sulking around like you'd be playing Destiny 3 right now if it weren't for Marathon is not true. And finally, I want to talk about the UI. I think my guy here said it best. The way some of you can't figure out things in Marathon is proving you really do need yellow paint. Let me let you in on a little industry secret. There is a reason why every multiplayer game's interface looks like Hulu. It's because they know you are already familiar with it, and they will go with this approach even if it doesn't fit the options available. That's how we get to Battlefield 6, where I gotta vertically scroll a bajillion times to find the singular game mode I'm looking.
You see, Atomic, that's very healthy. That's constructive. That's, it's fair. It's fair. Personally, I don't like the art style, but I don't hate it. It just says that I just say that it doesn't appeal to me. I feel like it's more of a personal experience type of thing. Yes, that's fine. But see how you're not coming into my Atomic, see how you're not coming to my chat and saying game look ugly. It's like, just look at it, game ugly, right? You're actually articulating. It's like, I kind of wish that they maybe did a little bit more, like a slight different direction in it, or not, to make it a little bit better. But that's just a me thing. Overall, I don't think it's like the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not my vibe, right? That's completely fine, Atomic. And if everyone was more like that, right, the majority was like that, I wouldn't be making this half of the stream. No, you must like the art. You don't have no vision scrub. How's that? You know what, Max? You actually kind of convinced me. Everyone should actually be like that.
For navigating these unnecessarily
Be a sheep. Listen to only my opinions. My opinions is gospel. Only listen to me. Listen. Come on now.
large tiles, just have to scroll all the way back up to see the lobby. God forbid Grandpa has a little motion.
Oh, shit. Yo, this is the drip we got in the Discord right now. Oh, shit. God forbid Grandpa has a little motion. Shit, but shit. He got, gullible gaming. Alright, Piper. That mean Grandpa do be getting a little motion. I'm not gonna hold you.
People complain about this all the time, talking about how games are lazy, games are copy-paste, it's the same thing every year. And then the second someone does something different, it immediately gets dunked on. And I get it to a degree. Different does not mean better. But I really don't see how the UI is being talked about like it's this bad. It can be overwhelming at first as you're trying to learn what everything does, but you are learning.
Damn, bro. Wait, Sakaguchi. Wait, could you actually do Sakaguchi stuff? I couldn't find to get. Oh my god, don't tell me I could actually do the worm faction, and I just haven't been able to do it. Or there's something that I have to do in order to do it. Oh, don't tell me. But damn, bro. Oh, well, he's just starting out, so it makes sense why his vault's like this.
UI should try to be as intuitive as possible, but it really feels like for the most part, people are simply not taking the time.
Wait a minute, I just realized something. Let me see something. Okay, no, we got normal latency. We have normal latency. I was just checking. Oh my god, I just saw the. Hey guys, you like VTubers, right? You like it when I talk to VTubers? Look at this. There's a girl with big bahungas who's playing Marathon, and she says the game is amazing. Guys, shouldn't we do a collab? Guys, shouldn't we play Marathon with this? Okay, it's a joke, but like,
Time to learn
I might have just opened the floodgate for me getting roasted.
anything. Everything in Marathon has an icon in the top right. That icon, or its color, indicates what that thing is.
Oh, it's a free thing. Dang. Okay, so you probably can't get Sakaguchi. He got the boxes because it was a free sponsor that day. Damn. Gunner, Atomic, I will literally sick Nergigante onto you. Don't try me. Chat, clip that. Chat, don't clip that.
Is, or where it goes in your inventory. Marathon is also sci-fi, so the items are going to be using made-up names that aren't immediately obvious, opposed to arc raiders and picking up a zip line. You don't have to like something if it isn't beginner-friendly, but saying something is bad because it isn't beginner-friendly is crazy to me. I know.
By the way, Atomic, I like the Borderlands art style, but some people don't, and it's okay if it's not made for everyone. It's not made for you. Yes, the Borderlands art style is a good thing, right? Borderlands art style is nowhere near graphic realism or anything of that sort, right? It's not like Call of Duty, like realism. But I like the Borderland graphics. I like the art style. I like it. Your favorite Gunner. Okay, man, okay.
People who are quitting because they don't know what to pick up. This is one of hundreds of screenshots I could have.
Yeah. Okay, look at this, right? This Atomic. This is what I'm saying, right? Inside here, this is way more Tron-esque. Like the lights on the edges and everything. The robots in here. This gives you a little bit more, like... This gives you, like, I forgot what it's called. What the specific style is called. But, like, this is probably what you're more looking for. But, like, on the outside, right? Like, give it, like, darker, like, instead of just being, like, one shade of color, have it, like, darker in some areas and then bright with lights in other areas, right? Is that what you're kind of getting at? I'm sorry, please don't. I feel like the game feels fine, just something I wouldn't play personally. Not gonna get on someone because they're not playing something I don't have an interest. Exactly. And when people see the burnt peanut was like, shut up, don't like shit on it, and like if you do, like just don't talk about it. People are like, oh wow, he's a shill. You can't disagree with him. It's like no. But when like burnt peanut literally has dozens of thousands of viewers a day. And if even like 2,000 people are just saying game bad, that would annoy me. That would bring down the vibe of the stream. It's not good. Especially when you're not giving criticism. And I know, because I was in Burnt Peanut's chat for like 30 minutes. And it was just a wall of negativity. Like nothing positive. And quite frankly, it's hard to try to enjoy a game when people are just saying game bad. Right? Like, Koala, if, like, what you were saying is how people were talking in, like, Peanut's stream, I don't think he would have had an issue. It was literally, like, people were saying game bad, game looks boring, game slump. That's all it was. They review, the reviews need to use self-improvement, end of discussion. You know what? End of discussion. You're true. Self-factual. Stop saying peanut? Why? Oh, did you want me to say, like, burnt peanut? Because that's, like, his full name. Maybe I should just say Burnt. I'm just saying Peanut. Because, you know, like, that's, like, I guess the nickname. But I guess, you know, Burnt Peanut is his full name, I guess. I don't like making opinions if I haven't at least tried it. Hey, good on you, Gale.
Picked, genuinely asking, how do you not know what to pick up? Take the beginner map as another example. This map exists to introduce you to the game with a low threat level. It's
Yes, this is what I was talking about. Now, I don't think I had this anymore because I was at the point where I was high enough level, and I think it just gets rid of this option when you're high enough level. But people were like, there's not enough PvP, and people were playing on the perimeter beginner. And they're like, where's the PvP? It's like, this is literally the map specifically so you can get your bearings and you could do some of your side quests and stuff. Am I the only one who doesn't hear Peanut? What do you mean? You don't hear Peanut? It's like calling Spottable Spot. Yeah.
purpose is to ease you in, to give you early wins, and perhaps to give you room to breathe and, I don't know.
The Unstoppables Unlimited Collection.
Oh my God.
Luxury laundry scent beads so you can smell unstoppable.
Bro, look at
Did you see that?
This is how you get school shooters, man. Don't. Oh man.
Learn the game without
Because it sounds like penis. What? Peanut. Peanut. Penis. Peanut. Penis. I guess so, but like if I say peanuts, if I say it with the S at the end, yes, I can kind of hear it. But if I just say, that's just how peanut is, right? But I can understand. I can understand that. Maybe I'm saying it too fast and I'm kind of like slurring it a little bit, right? My words are getting slurred a little bit.
getting shot by enemy teams. People are saying the game is too complicated, while simultaneously ignoring the use of the beginner map, instead complaining that the world feels too empty and boring with not enough players, to the point where Bungie literally added more players to the beginner map per the backlash. That's crazy. That's like going to a restaurant and complaining you didn't get enough food when you only ordered the appetizer. It literally tells you there's reduced hostile runner activity. Just pick the other maps.
But like, you have to understand that people didn't even like people legitimately didn't even play the game. Like, people are making videos on Marathon, and they literally haven't even played the fucking game. So you're like, how can people not read? It's like, yeah, how can people not read? But also, they can't read it because they never played it. It's literally free. It's literally free. You know what I'm saying? What's a game that I thought I wasn't gonna like, but then I played it and I ended up liking it? What game? I feel like there is a game. Wait, what game? What game where I was like, yeah, this is look for me, and then I played it, and then I was like, damn, this is actually pretty good. I don't know. Oh, The Binding of Isaac. I thought The Binding of Isaac was like, and then I played it, and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of fun.
There are certainly things that can improve with the UI, for example.
So you have to
I don't
try
think it's
games.
always
Just try
immediately
the
obvious
game.
which you can click on.
Especially if the game is free, just try the freaking game, right?
I imagine for some people the icons are too small. I honestly don't know if accessibility settings are present to adjust that, but if there isn't, they should be added. Dropping items by dragging them feels a little awkward. Equipping a sponsored loadout makes sense once you've done it a couple times, but it did confuse me the first time. I've also seen a couple of bugs where the option to sell something appears twice. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's gonna win awards, but it is far, far from being the worst UI I've seen. The fact that people are quitting because of it says more about them than the game. And this is especially surprising to me because did we not just come from a year where Expedition 33 won every single award under the sun? And don't get me wrong, that game is phenomenal and it deserved it. But you cannot convince me it's less confusing and has less of a learning curve than Marathon. You gotta learn Pictos and Lumina and 6 playable characters worth of made up in-universe mumbo jumbo with big paragraphs and the couple words are like a different color. When it clicks, it's really rewarding, but it takes time. It isn't immediately obvious. I'm not saying Marathon is as good as Expedition 33, but it's the same general concept. There isn't anything wrong with taking some time to learn something. Anyway, I said I wouldn't rant, and I ranted. Look, do I think
Damn, he just like me for real. I'm like, guys, I don't want to go on a rant, and then immediately goes on a rant.
Marathon is Game of the Year? I do not. Do I think it's incredible, an unforgettable experience? I do not. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. I appreciate them trying something else. I appreciate them having some style. I appreciate them being creative. I think it's currently a good game that's good fun. Will it be more than that? Will it be amazing one day? I don't know. But I think people need to chill. It's not terrible. It's not Concord. It will find an audience. Try to play it. Try to learn it. Have some fun. Get offline. We'll see how things play out beyond that. Anyway, I'm going to take my own advice and get out of here because I've talked long enough. If you enjoyed this video, you can let me know by leaving a like. If you're
Of course, my man. Oh, whoops. Everybody left a like. There you go. Now, what do you guys think about that? A good video, and then it also got into, like, people, like, you know, he articulated himself. I think a good review. Not even just because he was talking positive, but because he was actually, like, talking, he was actually going to detail. Right? So I think this video was good. I liked it, right? Now, we're going to get onto full-on drama. Almost not even, like, the video game. We're just getting straight drama now. Okay? And luckily, I already have the video pulled up. And this is from a guy with, I think, 1K views. Look at him. Look at him. like 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, he was like 700 subscribers. He's going up in the world. I'm so proud of him. This is the marathon hate is insane. So I'm gonna watch one of his videos and then another video, and then we're gonna do the drip check. Okay. So let's watch this. Let's watch this.
Marathon is not that bad. There, I said it. Controversial, I know. It's got its problems, but it's overall pretty fun. However, half the people criticizing Marathon over the past 24 hours played it for 15 minutes, decided it was a government psyop for low testosterone.
Hey, that's literally the guy we watched. Marathon is trash review and first impression. So this guy seriously hit post on this. Ghost of 8 Thoughts. He has 80.1k subscribers. Viper, if you wanted to know specifically. This is the guy who was kind of sprugging out and talking about like politics and stuff. And I wasn't even talking about the game for like minutes on end. He was going on to his own little rant.
Liberals cried about it on Twitter
Oh wait, my fault, gang. Let me give you a like there.
uploaded a 20-minute video about it. The other half are from people who don't like extraction shooters in the first place and are hopping on the hate bandwagon because it's cool to do so. Me personally, I've been having a blast on the free server slam. It's running through the weekend and I have been running drops, losing fights I should have won, winning fights I definitely should not have won, and having a genuinely great time doing it.
Volt Pistol, my beloved. Damn, bro. Leave some pussy for the rest of us, bro. You hitting them shots.
But I am not going to sit here and tell you the game has no problems, because it has some real ones, and I think the conversation around Marathon's legitimate issues is getting completely buried under an avalanche of bad faith nonsense that serves nobody. The most valid
Yes, exactly. There are criticisms. There is things to actually dislike about Marathon, but it's covered by so much unbelievable garbage of criticism, quotation marks, if you can even call it that, right? That's like, it's hard to like even talk about the big stuff because it's like, damn, well now I kind of just don't even want to listen to you guys because you guys are just kind of ridiculous. Side effects go hard, they do go hard.
criticism floating around right now, and the Marathon subreddit has been hammering this hard over the server slam, is the user interface situation, particularly with items and inventory icons. And they are completely right. Someone posted a thread with a screenshot showing multiple shield items sitting side by side in their inventory, and they are visually identical. Same shape, same color, same everything. You cannot tell them apart without mousing over each one individually to read what it actually is. One of them is 50% stronger than another. You would never know. Another post puts it even more bluntly, showing a whole grid of items with the caption, "Which ones are your favorite to run?" What do you mean you can't tell the difference? The poster says there are 4 different versions of one item in that screenshot and you would never guess. And honestly, they're right. They write, "I cannot be ducked to have to hover over each of these just to see what is better and what does what, especially out in the open after a very loud firefight." For context on how bad this is, and I say this as someone who has played a lot of Escape from Tarkov, Tarkov's item icons are actually really well done for this reason. Even items that look similar will have visual distinctions that let you read your inventory at a glance. An armored rig will show whether it has plates and whether those plates are damaged just from the icon. You don't have to hover, although it will give you more complete information. In a game where you have 30 seconds after a firefight to reorganize your kit before someone else finds you, hovering over every individual item to read its tooltip is not an acceptable design. The poster in that thread makes the point directly. It just hurts my brain on how they let this pass. Everything else from the game is peak or good, but this is definitely the worst part of the game by far. I agree. The rest of the game's visual design is so considered and deliberate that this feels...
But have you ever thought about game bad? But have you ever thought about game bad? Game bad? But like game bad. Have you ever thought about that? No? Well, okay, but listen. Game bad.
feels like something that slipped through QA rather than an intentional choice, and it needs to be fixed. And to Bungie's credit, they are clearly listening. The official Marathon dev team posted a day 1 update during the server slam, and it is exactly the kind of communication you want to see from a studio navigating a rough launch window. They acknowledged mouse input lag issues from streaming software, voice chat dropping out during runs, the names changing to redacted bug, which they fixed and issued name change tokens for, texture loading problems, and specifically called out the UI feedback, saying, "We've heard your thoughts and want to hear more," with a direct link to a feedback thread on their Discord. They also addressed the PvP frequency complaints, explaining that Perimeter Beginner Mode intentionally limits the number of other runners and pointing people toward Dire Marsh and higher difficulty maps for more player contact. That's a real response to real feedback. The inventory icon problem is real. The UI has genuine shortcomings, but the people building this game are paying attention, and that matters. Now, the other half of this week's criticism.
Which, okay, I wanna like make a little segment here. I want you guys to know something. Pizza. Okay. When the alpha of this game came out, which was last April, I think. Maybe last May, but I think it was last April. People were like shitting on the game, and they're like, yo, this game will be absolutely horrendous if they don't do this and they don't listen to player feedback. You want to know something? They literally did. They literally did. People were like, yo, you need to have prox chat. They didn't have prox chat. They're like, okay, they added prox chat. They're like, yo, you need to have like single player mode so I can just go in by myself. They're like, okay, they did that. They're like, yo, the enemies feel super weak. They just die instantly. They're not even a threat at all. They're like, bet. Now they're almost as dangerous as literal players. They're like, yo, I don't like how the characters are like hero shooters with like backstories. Isn't that like contradictory to like the core like story? They're like, bet! And they changed it. Now that they changed it, they literally listened to like 90% of the players' feedback. And the only feedback that they didn't do was like literally make a campaign or change it from not an extraction shooter. Other than that, they literally did everything that everyone asked for. And it still is getting dogged. It's like, you motherfuckers just don't want anything. You just want to hate. And listen, I'm a big hater. I'm big on negativity. But it's like, damn. It's like, why are you complaining about getting cookies when you asked for a cookie? I don't get it. I must confess, I love laughing at bad ideas in game industry, but it ends at laughing in my room. I don't take this stuff to comments. Max, you might want to word that slightly differently. Yeah, I'm kind of getting a little confused on what you're saying. But anyways, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Glorp. Let's go back.
The part that has nothing to do with poor user interface design or lacking gameplay. Before we begin, according to my YouTube analytics, everybody has already subscribed. Thanks, guys. Let me introduce you to the
No way, guys, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free, and you can change your mind anytime you want.
Ghost of 8 Thoughts, who uploaded a video about Marathon yesterday that starts with a complaint about the game and almost immediately becomes something else entirely. He says,
Marathon, wait, hold on. Marathon the video game is absolutely horrible. It's trash. Do not buy it. This video is my review and first impressions of Marathon multiplayer. Yeah, this guy's a complete clown.
Yesterday that starts with a complaint about the game and almost immediately becomes something else entirely. He says, and I am going to play this quote directly because you have to hear it to believe it, that Marathon
is for autistic, ADHD, Gen Z, beta male liberals that have 15 boosters and think the world's going to end because Klaus Schwab told them to eat bugs, live in a zero city, and that the climate change is going to melt the polar caps, and Al Gore is out here touching kids with Schindler's List type people over on Epstein Island, Shabbat Shalom, Habibi's in the house, Donald Trump is captured by Israel. Okay?
He also says that in order to...
What? What? Are you summoning a demon? What was that? He was literally doing hand signs at the end there. Yo, I'm sorry, you might not want to hear it again. That escalated a little. Yeah, we have to listen to that again. I'm sorry. We have to listen to that again. This is literally 30 minutes of this guy literally going crazy. We have to listen to it again. I know you might not want to. We have to listen to it again. Listen, he starts summoning... Can we watch that again? Yes, he starts summoning a demon. Look at him. Towards the end, he starts doing, like, hand signs.
Hear it to believe it. That Marathon
is for autistic.
Is this the guy from before? It is the guy from before. But this time, you can actually see his face cam.
ADHD Gen Z beta male liberals that have 15 boosters and think the world's going to end because Klaus Schwab told them to eat bugs, live in a zero city, and that the climate change is going to melt the polar caps, and Al Gore is out here touching kids with Schindler's List type people over on Epstein Island. Shabbat Shalom. Habibi's in the house. Donald Trump is captured by Israel. Okay?
He also says that in order
He literally started doing gang signs. What was it? Eat bugs? I don't know. Can we get him for a theme park? Yeah, can we get him for the circus? This guy's the clown. He's not even the whole clown, actually. Never mind, he is the circus. Oh my god. And this is the guy. Keep in mind, people like this legitimately have an audience. And you know, sometimes, Hunters, I won't lie. Every so often, I think, damn, if I grift, and if I take the easy way out, and if I just appeal to a certain audience, I could make so much bank. I could make so much money. I could blow up and like start just getting so many subscribers so fast. And then I thought about it. And then I realized I can't do it because I'm not a little bitch. It's just unfortunate. I'm not a little bitch. So I can't do it. But sometimes I think about it. Sometimes I see the glimmer. I see the review. I see the interactions. I see everything. And I'm like, maybe. Unfortunately, I just can't be a little bitch like this guy. Unfortunate, but I can't.
Shalom. Habibi's in the house. Donald Trump is captured by Israel. Okay?
That's just funny. Are those the 12? I don't know what the fuck common sense shaders.
he also says that in order to enjoy Marathon, quote, you have to be gay. And he delivers this verdict having played the game for, in his own words, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. This is not a critique of the game. This is the result of years of anti-identity politics brain rot in the gaming community that results in the exact opposite side of retardation. If a game doesn't feature a white male protagonist or conventionally attractive woman, or if it features an avant-garde graphical style, it is automatically woke and to be immediately discarded. Of course, pushing past any considerations of gameplay, because to consider whether the game is fun would mean considering it beyond its use as a political tool to serve your own dysfunctional ideology. The thing that's actually funny about his specific complaint that the game is overly colorful and visually chaotic to the point of being unplayable is that if you strip out all the slurs and conspiracy references, it really comes down to the fact that this person will only ever consider playing a game that looks like Unreal Engine slop, the most realistic graphics possible with no sense of creative approach. I think there is something fair to be said about how the game can look visually noisy in the moment-to-moment gameplay, but given it's an intentional stylistic decision, it kind of comes down to personal preference rather than an objective shortcoming of the design. Griffin Gaming's video is a different flavor of this.
I like this. He's making fun of the cave dweller. Is that what we're gonna call Asmund? Or are you just gonna call him the cave dweller? Which one? Oh, I did see this guy's video a little bit, and it's not as bad as the other guy who we just saw. The guy who's literally like going on a rant, spreading out, and was low-key summoning a demon with the nonsense he was saying. But this is still a pretty bad video. I'm not gonna lie.
Opens by framing Marathon within the downfall of Bungie and PlayStation narrative, and says, honestly, pretty candidly, that he has never really gotten the appeal of extraction shooters, has never played Tarkov, never played Arc Raiders, and they have never appealed to him in any way. The whole premise of the review collapses on this point alone. He is not reviewing Marathon on its own terms. He is reviewing extraction shooter as a genre concept and using Marathon as the vehicle. He says the game is boring because he didn't encounter a singular enemy player across 3 rounds and that he was just wandering around aimlessly opening boxes. He also admits he played the beginner map on Perimeter, which Bungie's own dev update specifically explains intentionally infills fewer runners. So he played the mode with the fewest players, never met anyone, and concluded the game has no PvP. That is like playing the tutorial for a fighting game, concluding the game enemies won't fight back and throwing the game in the trash. He does make one interesting observation almost accidentally when talking about the visual design. He says, every environment looks like it's made of plastic. Everything looks super bright and neon unnecessarily. It's like clean but ugly at the same time.
Whoa, did you see that? Yo, what did he do there? Yo, he knocked someone. Yo, okay, he's fighting someone, right? His shields get depleted, and when he knocks the person, his shields start healing. Yo, whatever mod, whatever you got on you, I'm gonna need that, my boy. I'm gonna need that. I might even go into the comment section and ask him. I'm gonna need that, my boy.
One interesting observation almost accidentally when talking about the visual design. He says,
so it breaks, right? And then he downs him, and look at what happens.
Every environment looks like it's made of plastic. Everything looks super bright and neon unnecessarily.
And that's going by so fast, bro. Yo, that is healing so much. I'm gonna need that mod. I'm gonna need that home. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that home.
It's like clean but ugly at the same time. There's something very, very unnerving about the way this game looks. And then he immediately says, and maybe that's what they were going for, the whole sci-fi dystopian look where everything looks bright, colorful, and clean, but in reality it's actually rotten and evil at its core. Which is actually a pretty good analysis, and at the very least he can accept that the visual style just isn't his cup of tea rather than calling it garbage outright. The no PvP complaint, though, almost always comes from the same misunderstanding of what an extraction shooter is. Calzatron posted some genuinely explosive PvP gameplay this week. High action, chaotic, exactly the kind of clip people claim the game doesn't have. But the criticism keeps circling back, and I think the reason is that a meaningful chunk of the people criticizing Marathon on this point are coming from a Call of Duty, Battlefield, or Halo background where you spawn into a match and immediately start shooting people every 10 seconds. That is not the purpose of the game. The game loop relies on building tension through trying to complete an objective, being increasing the value of your stash or
I don't know, bro. This game just looks good. And I get it. Not every game will be action packed, and low key, I don't want every game to be action packed. But like, bro, I die. You can legitimately die within a minute, and actually, I have a clip to show that. Right? I'm sorry, I'm only getting 2 or 3 words, guys.
completing tasks, and the threat of player encounters could often be considered an obstacle, not your primary goal. The fact that you might run into someone is what makes you move carefully. The fact that you might not means when you do, it matters. That is the genre. And it's understandable that not everyone likes this concept. If you want to kick back after a hard day of pouring concrete foundations and turn your brain off to shoot gingerbread men in Call of Duty for 2 hours, then so be it. But Marathon is not that. I think a secondary and funnier reason that the harsh criticism is being thrown at Marathon is that the game is just flat out too difficult for many players coming at the game from this perspective. The UESC bot enemies pose a genuine threat, and if you do not respect them, they will kill you. Even the sentry turrets, while annoying, add a layer of tension and planning to how you navigate the map. These things can do serious damage, and if you need to take a certain path, you may need to eliminate a turret, but shooting will reveal your position to anyone listening in the area. The fun of the game doesn't come from constant dopamine hits from mowing people down, but from the triumph of one's own planning, cunning, and even some luck to make it through a raid without dying. Burnt Peanut had a great moment this week that really captures the energy around the vicious hate towards Marathon. Tons of people in his stream chat were begging him to stop playing Marathon because it's bad, same as they apparently did when he was playing Arc Raiders, and he had an incredibly valid crash out.
Dude, shut up! That happens with every game!
Fucking runner at,
Literally, the game you're telling me to go play Arc Raiders, you literally did it too as well! On day one! Shut up!
Which brings us to the Arc Raiders tribalism, which is its own remark.
Which, again, you might, like, a lot of people see him say that, and they're like, oh, so now I just can't, you can't criticize Marathon? So if I don't have it, so I just can't say anything bad about Marathon? It's like, dude, this guy was literally live for like 10 hours, and like 70% of his chat was just saying Marathon bad, Marathon slop, Marathon looked bad. That's all. Again, I went into his stream for like 30 minutes. That's all I saw. I would be so heated after even an hour. The fact that like he probably crashed out at like the 5th hour, I applaud him for that. But of course, people aren't going to see like that. People aren't going to actually be objective. They're going to misconstrue what he's saying. And a lot of people do. I actually left a comment on a guy's channel, which I don't usually leave a lot of comments on people's channels, explaining basically, like, hey, I think you just kind of don't see where he's coming from. I think you're being disingenuous. And I haven't gotten a reply yet. I wonder how that's going. I literally said in the comment that I don't think this comment's gonna be received well. But I think it's a valid crash out. If you guys, keep in mind, it's almost as if, wait, do you guys remember when I was playing Stories and that one guy came in and was just kind of like, this game's bad and everything? And he was just like bitching and moaning. Do you guys remember that? When I played Stories. That one guy was in there, and I remember Viper and someone else telling me, like, yo, can you, like, kick this guy? Can you, like, ban this guy? Get him out of here? And thankfully, as I was about to do that, he just kind of, like, left. I don't remember that? You don't remember that? You don't remember that? I don't really remember. Really? Like, he was, like, the one guy in a long time who just, like, came in and started ruining the mood. You guys don't remember that? I might have to find the VOD. I might have to find the VOD, and I don't remember when it was, so it'd be hard to find. I erased bad memories. Oh, fair enough. But basically, that was I always try to create like a positive environment, a fun environment for you guys, no matter what game I play, right? And that guy just came in and was just kind of just like being horrible, super negative for no reason. Like, damn, I'm trying to enjoy the game. I'm trying to enjoy stories, right? But he just came in and to the point where like you guys were not enjoying yourselves. You're like, yo, can you ban him? Get him out of here. I don't remember that really when I first. Okay, I might have to. I might just have to like find it, and hopefully, I had this chat on screen so I could you actually like see it when it happens. But I'll find it, bro. I don't know when I ate yesterday. What makes you think I could bring that back? I'm doing it right now. Okay, but yeah, right. So imagine that. That was just one guy. I think we had maybe like around 15 people, and there was just one guy. Right? Now imagine Burnt Peanut having to deal with literally thousands of people saying game bad, game bad. But have you ever thought about Peanut? Have you ever thought about game bad? I would be so tilted. But yeah, I tell you, even if like Viper and all of you, I'm sorry you're gonna have to catch straights. I'm telling the entire chat to shut the fuck up at that point, right? So like I think his crash out is pretty valid.
Remarkable sub-phenomenon. Smith Doggy tweeted, "Playing Marathon showed me a side to the Arc Raiders community I really did not like. There is more than one video game on the market, always has been. Don't be fucking weird." This is the correct take. Arc Raiders is a good game, and I acknowledge it's not my cup of tea because I don't like the graphical style or gameplay. Marathon is a different good game, and I do like it because I do like the graphical style. These can both be true simultaneously. The two games share a genre, but they are not in direct competition for the same player, any more than two different restaurants are in a war because they both serve food. And yet there is a chunk of the Arc Raiders community.
Okay. POV, you're mugging someone in London.
Both be true.
POV, you're mugging someone. You see someone walking out late at night, and you're mugging them. Unhand thine loot, scallywag. Give me thy wallet. Okay, that wasn't very funny, but okay. Okay, I made myself chuckle there.
Existence is a personal attack on them, which, I cannot stress this enough, the developers of Arc Raiders did not ask for and definitely do not want. Nobody at Embark Studios is sitting in an office hoping their fans are sending hate at another game's community. Additionally, from what I'm aware, Marathon has more in common with Tarkov than it does Arc. GSauce shared a meme this week capturing this energy perfectly, a Fallen Chungus-style image macro about the absurd volume of hate people are directing at Marathon, quote-tweeting one of their own posts and pointing out, "Yo, I'm in tears look at the hidden replies, doggone."
This is really how it is. Is this not really how it is? Yes or no? It's like, dang. It's like me being like, I like playing Marathon. Everyone, you're a fucking shill. You're a Bungie stan. You're fucking You're not even grifting. You're a fucking like supporter of like political. Like, it's crazy. You're an idiot. You're mentally stunted. It's like, I'm just trying to enjoy it. Yeah, literally what it is.
Now, the hidden replies on the quoted tweet features a wall of pure vitriol from people who must have never taken a breath through their nostrils in their lives. And look, the meme format is funny, but the thing underneath it is so real.
This troglodyte has played nothing but Destiny or mobile games. Bros confused self would not know what a good game is. This is a shill account. See, look at this. Look at this. He's literally just like, game good. I don't know why people are so mad at me for saying game good. You're a shill. This is a shill account. You're a shill account. It's like, damn. You know, I like, don't get me wrong, guys. I like Marathon. I like Marathon for what it is, okay? Don't get me wrong. But with how many people are visually just hating on people liking the game and the game itself, it makes me want to have the game succeed just for spite. Now, I think the game will do good, but I want the game to bang and have great numbers and just to completely spite people. I know that's not a good thing, And that's not how I actually feel, but it makes me want to be spiteful. It makes me want this game to be successful for spite. Now, that's not how I actually am, but it makes me want to feel that way.
There are people for whom marathon failing feels emotionally necessary, and they are posting with the kind of intensity that suggests something deeper than a preference for different game design. Actual culture war slop.
Paid for by Marathon? Yo, Marathon, if you see, Bungie, Sony, if you see this, I'll do an ad. I'll do an ad. If you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you slide me the game for free, and, you know, you give me a little bit of dough, a little bit of dough on top, you know, I'll do it. I have a whole second channel. I can post that on. You know, I'm kind of broke. I need a new computer. You do that. I'm kind of promoting you guys for free. If I'm paid by Marathon, if you want to pay Sony, Bungie, if you want to pay me, I fuck with it. Spawnable Gaming is real. Yo, guys, I haven't gotten a single sponsor, like, what is it, collab or anything. Or not collab, but, you know, like, sponsor, like, deals. I haven't gotten anything, please. If you guys actually want to, like, just, like, do it, like, come on. Like, I'd be down. Like, I'm already going to say good things about the game. So the fact that, like, if I just get paid for doing something I was already going to do, I'm taking it. I'm taking the money. Guys, I need a new PC for, like, games and stuff. No, I'm sorry, not for games, but for stream. Think about the money spot. Yeah, think about the money. Here's the thing, though. It's funny, because it's, like, paid by Marathon. I'm not. Oh, okay, wait. Paid for by Marathon. What does that even mean? You mean by Bungie? I just realized it's paid for by Marathon. Marathon isn't a company. It's the game. If you want to say paid for Marathon, sure, but paid for by Marathon, I don't know about that.
The genuinely frustrating thing about all of this, the Ghost of 8 Thoughts video, the Griffin Gaming video, the Arc Raiders tribal hate, is that it drowns out the feedback that actually matters. The UI has some serious problems, the movement can feel a bit slow and sluggish, and the short time to kill can feel frustrating. These are things Bungie should hear from players. But when that feedback is sitting in the same pool as this game is for beta male liberals who support immigration, the signal gets completely buried in noise, and the people
And here, you know what the funny thing is? You would think that that's like hyperbole. Obviously, no one's saying it like that. We literally saw two people bring politics into it. That redhead girl and that fucking dude with the rooster profile picture. Who was like summoning, I'll keep on saying it. He literally is like smirking out. My man has some few, he doesn't have any bolts. The common sense, the brain, it's not really there. So, like, it being like what he said, you're like, obviously that's hyperbole. No way people are like that. People are legitimately like that. We just saw two videos low-key like that. One video high-key like that. Another video low-key like that.
who need to hear it have to work much harder to find it. What the actual data from the Server Slam shows is that people playing the game are having a good time. Starving Saint on Twitter posted this triage gameplay showcasing aggressive, explosive fights, the kind of clip that should silence the "there's no PvP." It's exactly what the game looks like when it's clicking. Side note, triage does seem pretty overtuned right now. Passive healing for yourself and your teammates plus a lock-on ability that hits for a shocking amount of damage is a lot of value in one kit, and if that doesn't get adjusted before March 5th, I expect basically everyone to be running triage by the end of the Server Slam.
But no, don't nerf triage. I mean, think about it though, right? I mean, like, you have people going invisible, recon, right? Thieves that can steal loot and stuff. I mean, like, triage seems really powerful for, like, groups, but if those groups aren't coordinated, triage is almost useless. I mean, we literally had a person when I was trying out my assassin build who was triage, and he literally didn't give me or the other guy a single med drone. Of course, not everyone's going to be like that, but don't nerf my boy, please. Please don't do it.
But that's a balance complaint, which is a normal and healthy thing to complain about in a game that is actively in testing. Anyways, I've been spending a lot of time writing and editing, and not playing the game. I'm probably going to hop on soon. Make sure to add me, Glorpinity4589.
Oh! Yo. A Glorp collab? And then Glorp has a number one. Oh my god, he just released the video 7 minutes ago. Yo, this guy's pumping out content. This guy's pumping out content. Literally couldn't be me. My dumbass. Literally couldn't be me. And then here's the last video I want to look at.
show the whole
Here's the last video I want to show, okay? Last video. I like this guy. I think he talks good. This is the last video I want to see, and then we're going to do a drip review. Then don't worry, when we do the drip review, I'll let everyone know that we're doing it.
Marathon has lost half of its players in just 24 hours, and as of writing this video, it's sitting at around a third of its original player count, about 33%. But it's not over yet, and I can explain why. No, I promise I'm not a shill. I'm not on Bungie's payroll. I have 700 subscribers, and
Yeah, look, literally, like, within 3 days, he's gone 300 subscribers. That's good numbers.
I have yet to see a dime from this channel. Fair disclosure of my bias. I love this game. I've racked up several hours in the free server slam. The gameplay loop is genuinely fun if you like extraction shooters. The audio design is excellent. The guns feel great. But the game's not perfect. Yes, the biggest thing being the user interface among other valid criticisms. But today I want to dig deeper on the manufactured hate for Marathon.
What is it with everyone thinking people are on payroll? Yeah, people don't even actually understand that. Like, people also think that Peanut's a shill. And Peanut, I believe, did get sponsored. But, like, you have to understand, Peanut was like, his big blow up and success right now is Arc Raiders. Right? It's literally, like, the biggest competition to Marathon ever. It is literally the most common sense, like, strategy to specifically shit on Marathon. For Peanut to shit on Marathon. And say, if you want a good game, come to Arc Raiders so that he can get more views. But he's not doing that. It actually hurts his viewer count and it actually hurts him by talking good about the game. And people are like, you're a shill. It's like, bro, he's actively hurting himself to actually, like, speak good about a game he likes. Like, people don't actually understand, like, what, like, contracts and stuff, like, mean. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, when you see the type of people who are making videos about Marathon saying it's a horrible game, you kind of just, like, don't listen to them because, you know, of the type of people they are. Oh, whoops, my fault.
Why the level of vitriol the game is receiving is totally unjustified, and why many of the loudest voices in this conversation are embarrassing themselves by blindly following the mob. Player counts are dropping, that is an indisputable fact, but it doesn't show the whole picture. Rock Solid, who I've referenced in another video, is continuing to post his culture war ragebait slop. A 50% drop in players in a little over 24 hours of the free playtest releasing is abysmal. What happened to the Marathon takeover?
We need an evil spottable spot channel? No, you don't. You don't want me just crashing out, like just a channel all about me crashing out about everything. You don't want that. Trust me. You might think you might want it, but you don't want it. Trust me.
This is not the proof of failure these people are wishing it is. Concord and Highguard, the failed launches that people constantly reference and compare Marathon to, show similar but still notably different data. Highguard, by this same point in its release, had lost almost 80% of its players. It went from roughly 100,000 down to 20,000, and what followed was a nosedive that kept going, bottoming out.
Yeah, see, this makes sense, right? So an all-time peak of 97,000, right? Let's just round it up to 100,000, right? And then within, let's say, from peak hours to then players right now, like, this is what people think that Marathon is, and it's not. Right? It's not. Right? We do not see Highguards, like, thing like going down and then up again and then down and then up again. Right? We don't see that here. Marathon is like that. And that's the server slam. This is legitimately the entire game of Highguard. The server slam is doing significantly better than Concord and Highguard. Your brain needs help, Atomic?
Below 10,000 within a week. Of course, we're now only 2 days into the free play period and we don't have this amount of data. However, we can try to read the tea leaves here. To start, both of these games during their launch have shown this same pattern of an immediate peak followed by a declining player count. It's unfortunate that the Steam DB data on Highguard is old enough that it doesn't show the hourly numbers anymore, but if we assume every daily data point was the peak count for that day, Highguard is showing a steeper decline despite its lower initial player count, from 100k to 40k to 20k, losing about 50% of the past day's peak count. So far, Marathon seems to be finding finding a little bit of a more consistent player base as the test progresses, and we'll see if this trend continues through to the end on Tuesday. It's not yet peak hours today, which it's currently Saturday, but we can already
Okay, let me see this. Let me see this. So this was, I think, like 2 days ago, or maybe a day ago. So peak 84, and then players right now. Okay, so today, about today, it's gone down about 10,000 in general. We saw that the peak was 74. Well, it was like 76, and then over here it was 51. Right? So around 10,000 players are lost in general. But that's still not bad. Can I say something? Sure, go ahead. Why is British censored? I don't know. No, he's out of line, but he's right.
see that the current player count is over half of Friday's peak, which shows that the trajectory is not anywhere near as severe. Rev says Desu, this cringelord borderline portable document format
Oh no, don't no. I know who I know this person. And I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. Well, I'm just gonna say it like this. This is all. I know what you are. I know what you are. You could try hiding it, but I know what kind of man you are. Is this topic even a discussion at this point? Well, it's not even a discussion. Now we're just kind of getting to drama and just talking points, right? That's all we're talking about. We're not even talking about like actual like criticism and like actual deep detailed things. We're not talking about that anymore. We started it in the beginning. Now we're kind of denigrating ourselves to just drama, which I told you was going to happen. I literally told you guys this was going to happen. I get the vibes from dudes using female VTubers. Not even female VTubers. This is a lowly character. This is a lowly character. And if you guys look at his channel, again, it really is. I know what kind of man you are. If that makes sense. That's all I'm going to say.
Culture Warrior Chud has a whole segment in his latest video showing Highguard's chart described as peaking out at the beginning nearly 100k and just flatlining to almost nothing. We are not seeing a flatline right now. We're seeing people try out a divisive and innovative game, deciding they don't want to play it right now and moving on, which is partially why the free server slam exists. I think Bungie dropped the ball in a lot of aspects to keep potential new players, but I'll get deeper on that critique later. Before we begin, according to my YouTube analytics, everybody has already subscribed. Thanks guys. For some actual
I like that. It's like, to my analytics, everyone subscribed. Thanks. I like him. A funny little chap he is.
Context on a more mainstream free weekend, let's examine the Battlefield 6 open beta. It peaked at 520,000 concurrent players and dropped to 350,000 within 2 days. That's a loss of over a third of the player base for a free demo of a game in one of the biggest established franchises in gaming, and this was a
Holy shit. What is this? Yo, so it went from yo, hold on. What is with this massive dip? Like it's dipping sauce or something. This went from whoa. Marathon's is not this bad, bro. Marathon's graph looks nothing like this. Marathon's graph is like up here and then down, and then it goes back up, and then it goes back down, and then it goes back up, and then it goes kind of down more, and then it goes back up. Like, Marathon's thing looks way more healthy. This looks all over the place.
Of over a third of the player base for a free demo of a game in one of the biggest established franchises in gaming, and this was a game that was overall pretty well received at launch. Now that's not a perfect comparison either, since the low count was indeed on a Monday. As a reminder, these are the numbers of the peak for that day, so that's Monday evening when people are off work. But my point is that player bleed on a free beta is not automatically a death sentence. A game with an existing gigantic fanbase lost over a third of its player count during its free trial, and it still did just fine. This is not a guarantee that Marathon is going to be a mainstream success, but it proves that they are finding an, albeit small and little, seedling of a fanbase. This weirdo tweeted claiming that SteamDB was showing mass refund requests for Marathon, with the caption that this will probably be the most refunded game in 2026.
Wait, am I dumb? Okay, to be fair, I don't know a lot about Steam and stuff, but can you actually track, like, refunds? Like, how much refunds have been, like, made from a game? Is that a thing? I haven't heard that, but I don't know if that is a thing. Marathon has the new promise syndrome. People are still skeptical. Yes, people are still skeptical. That's when I think people need to see the end game and everything. And you know what? I might eat my words. I might actually be like, you know, I might say, you know what, guys, it really isn't any more than like a 7.5 out of 10 at the end of the day. and I don't think it's going to do good, right? Of course, I think. Okay, you saying of course and then I think is kind of contradictory, Max. Right? But I didn't know. I didn't know that you can actually like see like the records of how many refund requests there were. I didn't know that you could do that on Steam. That's kind of interesting.
Except you cannot track a game's refunds via SteamDB. That is not
Okay, well fuck me. I should have let the freaking video play for another few seconds.
data SteamDB has access to. If the game's numbers are genuinely that bad, why do people need to fabricate refund data to prove it? If the metrics tell the story you want, you don't need to invent additional metrics. The fact that people are making things up is its
Wait, what is
prove it. If the metrics tell the
You cannot track a game's refund via SteamDB. You are allowed to dislike Marathon, but what purpose does this lie serve? What happened to proving constructive criticism, then moving on? The game community in 2026 has become next level weird. I mean, if that is true, and it actually like isn't possible, it's not, like you literally can't like actually track Steam refund request, then this is a great point. A great point of discussion where it's like people are just kind of just lying and making shit up. And if it is true, then maybe this guy can like have a clap back where it's like, no, it is, and here's how you find it, right? So I don't know if it's true or not. I don't actually know, but if it's not true, or I'm sorry, if it's not true that you can actually track the refund request, then that's crazy.
story you want, you don't need to invent additional metrics. The fact that people are making things up is its own tell about how much of this criticism is evidence-based and how much of it is motivated reasoning in search of ammunition. Another troglodyte, at Bumbadum, whose bio describes himself as Heritage American, schizophrenic journal posting, anti-fat nationalist, musings of a white man, which he probably thinks covers himself in just enough layers of irony to play off that he's not actually racist should his real-life peers ever find out that he's
As in High Guard free? I don't know. I never cared enough to check it out or any of the discourse about it, so I literally have almost no idea about High Guard. So maybe, maybe not.
spews such vile garbage on the internet. Not that this tweet is particularly hateful, but you can look at his profile and find a deluge of putrid takes. He tweeted in response
Don't buy Marathon, review bomb Marathon, tank its scores, make fun of streamers playing it, Bungie must be fed to the Sony singularity, liquidate the studio, fire everyone there, give Pete Parson another 25 classic card. This is how gaming is nowadays. If you told me when I was a little kid, playing Halo 3 and playing Halo Reach, my favorite games, having so much fun in custom games, playing Splatter Monkey, playing Infection, that this is how video games were going to end up being, I low-key might have just dropped ship. I might have dropped ship. That's a big maybe, but maybe not. But I might have. So you wouldn't refund it, you just delete it. Oh, I mean, that's true, right? But I guess you just wouldn't know the refund request for that game specifically because it's not like every game's free. So the games that are free, you don't get the refund. You just wouldn't have data on that. Spot is trying so hate to not crash. Oh, it's so hard to not crash out. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff upsets me. And again, it's not even necessarily about Marathon. It's a bit just about how the culture is right now in the gaming sphere. Because again, we saw this with Wilds. And Wilds is a great game. It's an amazing game. So it's not even like, well, it's just Marathon. It's like, no, it's not just Marathon. It's going to happen to every single Monster Hunter game from now on. I don't know.
to the SteamDB charts, don't buy Marathon, review bomb Marathon, tank its scores, make fun of streamers playing it, Bungie must be fed to the Sony singularity, liquidate the studio, fire everyone there, give Pete Parsons another 25 classic cars. The Pete Parsons line is a reference to the real and legitimate controversy about Bungie's executive compensation versus their layoffs, which is a real grievance that real people have. But I don't play video games because I want to climb the corporate ladder at the publisher. I play games if I think they're cool or fun. I think in an ideal world they would compensate and treat their developers equitably and fairly, and not give the CEO $8.3 quintillion for a comparatively minimal amount of effort. But this hateful person just wants to call for the death of the publisher because Bungie invested money in making Black...
Bungie. Wait, hold on. Representation fails when the tools were never built for you in the first place. Landmark research of Yale for support of the Bungie Foundation for building their tech. I don't really know what this is. Bungie is a billion-dollar organization that can't handle 2 IPs at once because they're too focused on making black hair in Unreal? Huh? Okay. At this point, I don't even know.
Black people's hair look more realistic
We might as well be just living in a fairy tale. I don't know what's going on.
in video games. And sure, you can think it's a waste of money, misplaced development focus, or who cares, but it's exactly that. You want a company to die because they want to put more realistic brown people in video games? Gross behavior. This is the energy driving a significant portion of the organized hate against this game, and I hate to shove so much politics slop in this rant, but so much of it really is coming from weird right-wing gamer types.
Hold on now, big boy. Hold on. What do we got here? Note, I acknowledge people like Rev and Hero Hey aren't necessarily very politically outspoken, but their opinions are heavily derived from /follow RW discourse. Also at Mushi and the last goober are borderline / actual fascists, and that's not a joke or over exaggeration. Soros is just Returnal from Beef Filler, and Marathon is gonna bomb because people are tired of the soulless genre.
Another YouTuber, Hero Hey, posted a breakdown of the server slam that is worth going through because it does something interesting. It reviews some of the genuine criticisms, like the poor user interface, and puts them on the same level as some really stupid points. Embarrassing stuff. For example, the Arc Raiders chat center has some really stupid points. Embarrassing stuff. User interface.
This game is awful, bro. You've never seen a worse UI. The guns feel like shit. Looting takes 10 years because it's not obvious what anything is, and enemy players look like AI. I think just get good. I think it's a skill issue. Me personally, I think it's a skill issue. Me personally, I think it's a skill issue. Being sarcastic to anyone who might take me seriously, I've sold my soul to this series Rise Sunbreak years ago to set up playing. Stop playing now.
And puts them on the same level as some really stupid points. Embarrassing stuff. For example, the Arc Raiders chat censorship thing. And settle yourself down because this earth-shattering allegation is going to rock your world. Streamers discovered you couldn't type Arc Raiders in the in-game chat and it made the rounds online. To be clear, this was changed extremely quickly after it hit Twitter. Hero Hey frames this as Bungie being terrified of competing with Arc Raiders, suggesting the censorship was strategic and couldn't type Arc Raiders.
To the people thinking we faked this or we're being disingenuous, here is Ninja testing this before it got changed. The Marathon dev team is being disingenuous here by not addressing why Arc Raiders was censored in the first place. Marathon, another game, chat censors Arc Raiders. I did try this, and obviously it was fine. But apparently, like day one, like early day one, people tried typing in Arc Raiders, and it was like silence. But things like Fortnite and stuff wasn't. Which you can give some criticism for, right? You can definitely get some criticism for. Right? You 100% can. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's, like, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, and who gives a fuck? Right? Okay, you couldn't say Arc Raiders in chat. Okay. Right? Again, you can criticize them for it. It's like, why would you ever do that, right? And it's obvious that you did do it because then you went back and you fixed it. AKA, you made it so it's not like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, again, who cares? Like, what does it yeah, again, if Arc, like, again, like, so... Right? Think about it, right? If this wasn't an issue, or like an issue, if this wasn't a thing that you just couldn't type Arc Raiders in like the first playtest, then people were still gonna hate on the game. Now that it was, like, it just doesn't do anything. Again, if you want to criticize Marathon and Bungie for this, I think that's fair. But like at the end of the day, what does this do? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change how I play the game. It doesn't change how I look at the game. It doesn't change the design, the gameplay, the vibe. It doesn't change the story. It doesn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So my opinions about the game wouldn't change.
In the in-game chat, and it made the rounds online. To be clear, this was changed extremely quickly after it hit Twitter. Hero Hey frames this as Bungie being terrified of competing with Arc Raiders, suggesting the censorship was strategic and deliberate. He then cites it as evidence of a broader institutional defensiveness at Bungie. Beyond the fact that this is an absolute nothing burger criticism, who cares if you can type Arc
Hold on. We gotta read that.
at Bungie? Beyond the fact that this is an absolute
Son of a bitch. We gotta read that. Go back. Bro, Destiny chat sometimes censors its own classes. Bungie chat censorship just sucks in general. Nobody cares about you guys. Stop crying. You know, I'd love to agree, but when this happens over and over, there must be a reason. It's not coincidental anymore. This is the third recent game it's happened in. For Arc Raiders? Or like, because Bungie's only ever made 3 games. The original Bungie games. I'm sorry, the original Marathon game trilogy, Halo, and Destiny. So I'm assuming this is like the third recent game where you couldn't type Arc Raiders, or like they had to censor a game's name in chat. I'm assuming. This feels like a massive collective rage bait. Yeah.
fact that this is an absolute nothing burger criticism. Who cares if you can type
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, who cares?
Arc Raiders in the game chat, as if that has any bearing on how enjoyable the game is to play.
Why is that a big deal? Seriously, how does this limit anything you do in game?
This very well could have been a joke.
It's interesting that Bungie decided to ban the phrase Arc Raiders from their game chat. Again, if you want to criticize them for that, yeah. Especially since like Fortnite and stuff and things of that nature, and like other games like Tarkov and Hunt Showdown wasn't censored, but Arc Raiders specifically was. Yeah, you can criticize Bungie, but at the same time, it doesn't like do anything for the game. Like, it's such like a very small little thing that like at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
Even some employee or intern with moderation.
They don't want to. They don't want people promoting another game that could lose them money. It's actually petty and smart. I don't think so, bro. Like, I mean, like, yeah, but at the same time, like, I don't think this is like. I don't think if people were typing Arc Raiders that they would be losing money. I don't know.
Tools who put in the filter to be a weirdo, but the idea that this was done with some kind of institutional malicious intent is such a disingenuous interpretation of what the quote-unquote crime is. He also covers this tweet criticizing the change in appearance of the Vandal shell.
The only thing that sort of appeals to me in the game, and they took it away, all her aura from the trailer. It's from the trailer. It's from the trailer. Yeah, some things look different. But this is like a complete animated style of it. This is like rendered in like how it looks in the game. I'm sorry, it won't be the exact one-to-one, but that's just how it is. Okay.
Between the trailer and the game's release. Mind you, this is a tweet complaining about the visual appearance difference between a pre-rendered cinematic and the optimized in-game character.
I don't care if it was called sexist. I don't care if it's called sexist. Gaming needs to bring back the feminine
character model.
Stances for characters. Looks fucking cornball. Yeah, I don't. Man, these people are definitely something, huh, chat? Huh, hunters? These guys are definitely something. Definitely certain individuals. Definitely people of all time.
As if that is some kind of valid critique. As if pre-rendered cinematics have not been the standard for video games for literal decades. Perhaps there's something to be said about how gloomy the lighting is on the models in the main menu, but this idea that the character models look bad is kind of insane. This really needs to be addressed because it comes up in Rev Says Desu's video too, and it's another disingenuous complaint. The screen cap is from a video on YouTube called Marathon Reveal Cinematic Intro. It's literally labeled on the tin as a pre-rendered cinematic and not a gameplay reveal. The comparisons couldn't be further from a one-to-one. You're showing a dynamically posed, highly detailed 3D model tailored specifically to creating cinematic animations, next to a neutrally posed, compressed, and streamlined model created for optimized rendering. Not only that, the lighting in the main menu is rather gloomy, and the screen cap from the cinematic has a godly sunlight to it. If anything, this is more of a complaint regarding the user interface than the graphical fidelity. Just want to harp on Rev Says Desu a little longer. I
I could literally take talk for hours about how much this guy sucks, but I'll keep it brief. Okay, thank you. I won't lie. This is a little bit of criticism for him, for Glorp over here. Now you're not talking about Marathon, you're and the discourse around it. Now you're talking about entirely different YouTuber and what they got going on, and I don't think that's necessary. So, a bit of criticism. Oh, yeah. Thank you. This guy knows what he's talking about. Wait, are you saying Rev says Desu or the Glorp? Or Glorp or Glip? Forgot what this guy's Yeah, I feel like you didn't really need to say this. So, you know, I don't glaze everyone, right? I always give people criticisms, but at the same time, it is his video, and if he ever wants to go on a rant, he can go on a rant whenever he wants. I mean, this video is just pretty much just talking about drama, so I guess go off, King.
Pretty strong feelings about this guy. Partly because his presentation as a 30-something man embodying a VTuber lowly avatar is kind of disgusting, and the depth of his content is literally reading tweets aloud and giving the most sub-80 IQ analysis on this platform, and somehow he has garnered such a large audience. He reviews the tweets citing valid UI complaints and lumps them in with, again, culture war slop takedowns.
I think the criticism people are providing is that this game seems somewhat unfinished, it's unpolished, it's confusing, it's ugly, and it's not fun to play. In fact, it's getting the nickname Marathon, ironically enough, because you have to run a marathon to find other players in the game to actually engage with.
Yo, were those even his opinions? Notice how this Frank Gaten Corn Pop says the criticism people are saying. Because, yeah, I noticed that. He's like, so the criticism that people are saying, it's not even his. It's not even his opinion. Because he's just nodding and agreeing with the unwashed masses so they watch his video. Yes! It's like, you aren't saying, you know, I tried it and I get why they call it marathon. Because for me, it felt like I was running a marathon to even try and find people. No, he's literally just like reciting what he sees on Twitter or maybe Reddit or something. God, look at this. Absolute corn pop. Yo, actual corn pop.
He somehow tries to frame the genuine critiques as evidence the game is unfinished, which is blatantly false. Marathon's gameplay loop is complete, the gunplay is complete, the extraction mechanics, the faction system, the loot progression, these are fleshed out and functional. There's a fair amount of rough edges, but a game falling short in one regard or another does not mean it was not completed, and that's an insult to everyone who works so hard on the game. He's treating polish and QA issues as fundamental structural problems in an industry where every game that is released has bugs and design shortcomings. Rev also references the viral burnt peanut clip where he screams telling his audience to shut up and stop complaining about Marathon.
You shut up!
Rev's response to this...
Okay, listen. I don't even like the burnt peanut like that. Like, I don't even like the burnt peanut like that. I see him like every other VTuber. Like, I can watch you for maybe 5 minutes max, and then I gotta do something else. I'm sorry. It's just too much. But I'm not gonna lie, that's just kind of funny. Like, I can hear the real frustration. And just seeing a peanut with a mouth just yell, "Shut up." I don't know. It tickles like the 11-year-old brain in me, right? The 11-year-old kid inside me. You know what I'm saying? I kind of want to listen to that again. I like the way to stop the rage baiters review is to ignore them and to let them cry because they obviously do it for attention, and people continue to give it to them. They won't stop. I mean, that's the thing, though. You have to think about it, Atomic. These people literally do these things because they know that they'll get an audience for it. Because hate breeds more hate. That's why whenever you go into these people's, like, comment sections or chat, they all have the exact same opinion because they cultivated it. And so long as you agree with those people are saying, you'll pretty much be able to get away with anything. So long as you agree with their takes. Unfortunately, there will be always people like trying to correct those people. I'm not even trying to correct these people. I'm just observing, and I'm low-key just laughing at them. I'm sorry, high-key. Man, I wish I was being paid for this game, but nope. I just like it for free. Yo, I'm number 1. Yo, same here, Reddy. I wish I could get paid by Bungie to glaze the game. but unfortunately, that's just not the case.
telling his audience to shut up and stop complaining about Marathon.
Dude, shut up!
Shortcomings. Stop complaining about Marathon.
Dude, shut up! Dude, shut up! Dude, shut up!
Okay. Okay, that's pretty good.
Rev's response to this clip.
Oh, I know the guy is a shill,